Hello and welcome back to another quality check. We haven't done one of these in a while because I've been off rambling about the Belmonts and things. But yes, welcome back. I've got with me two very special guests. You know them, you love them. So I'll briefly introduce them and let them have what we say. But just going to talk about Regen in this one. Obviously it was a big, massive event that we've had. First UK major, maybe? Question mark. Somebody will correct me on that.
In five
Uh,
years.
Second
The
one, right?
Albion 4 was a major, so
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
I wasn't around that time, so but yes, I'll introduce my guest. We'll start with the one, the only Griseous,
Hello. Griseous, Mewtwo player, you already know me.
and the lovely statistician slash commentary star slash everything, Chakkie.
Hi, thanks. It's good to be back on this.
So yes, obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, Regen 2024 happened. So we'll just take a moment to just reflect on everything about Regen. Talk about commentary, games, the venue, upsets, just a general feel of it. So yeah, we'll do that. So strap in. If you weren't there, I mean, first of all, if you weren't there, where were you? Let's be honest, it was a fantastic event. I don't know about you two guys, but it was such a really good weekend. And yeah,
Yeah,
how did you guys enjoy it?
I quite enjoyed myself like that weekend. Quite possibly one of the best like weekends for Smash UK. Um, I know a lot of people held Grand Conquest in very high regard, but the amount of
was
people singing their praises for Regen this year was quite cool to see, and I am definitely in that boat as well.
yeah. I was going to say it's between those two for like the best event I've ever been to be honest. In terms of like the atmosphere, I think that like Regen, I always knew that when they were going to host a major, it wasn't going to be like anything else, and I think that they kind of delivered on that. Especially from the people who traveled in, they all think it was one of their favorite events of all time. Um, with the only comparison that I've seen people making is maybe UFA in terms of like the atmosphere and just like how fun it was to be there.
Mm,
Um, which is ridiculously high praise, especially on your first time doing something of this scale.
Oh, true.
Insane
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, I was gonna
To like
say,
knock it out of the park.
yeah, because they hosted Regen, not Regen, Invasion a few months before, didn't they?
Yes.
That was Team Regen, yeah. So they we were in that studio apartment in Birmingham, but they chose to move it to a theatre in Leicester, and I think they sort of centered all their branding around that because obviously you saw the little posters by Harther, which were incredible. I
Yes.
mean, if you were there in the venue, they had them all up on the side and they had them on like LCD screens just scrolling, and it was incredible to see them. I mean, even 5 6 months ago, a lot of effort went into this, and it was supremely high quality. And just being in the venue was great. I didn't go to Manchester Grand Conquest myself. I didn't manage to go. Um, but just if that one was near this in terms of quality, then definitely going next year for sure. Were
There's
there any?
definitely sorry.
No, no, go for it.
In the for Grand Conquest this year, it's definitely just a combination of like how well it was ran and just the production quality of the whole thing, and also the the small events that they had on the side, not not just like doubles with like chaos bracket or whatever, just like there was definitely that sort of vibe, and you had to sort of be there for it to really
Mm,
understand like uh what made it really work. But if you were there, you probably would you probably see it too. You probably have it in
Yeah,
like hold it very in high regard, you know?
like having the finale to Chaos Bracket be on the stage just before top eight, having the pub quiz. Obviously, they put that in Regen as well, which I think was a really smart idea. And there were parts of Regen's like side stuff that was arguably better. I love the fact that Regen karaoke. So I don't know if it was like one of the Irish lot or some of the French production team stayed behind, but they ran like the lights and the projector and everything. So it was just like standing on an X Factor stage with X Factor production as you do karaoke. It was hilarious and it was beautiful. So yeah, but I think those two definitely are like some of the most amazing events I've been to, and even before this year, when I was thinking of events that I've been to that I've really enjoyed, Regen 2022, Invasion, these they were all up there. But Team Regen they haven't really missed yet, and
No.
they're probably not going to. So
I mean, I think the question we're all going to ask ourselves is if there is a Regen 2025, how do they top this? Because that's the problem. Once you start making incredible events like this, it's almost sort of an expectation that the next year it's even better and it's even better. So that's like, even something like Super Smash Con, right, over in America,
Supernova.
or Supernova, every single time it just seems to get like that little bit better, and they seem to do it a little bit better. So, you know, the pressure's on them for next year to deliver something, in my opinion, even better because it'll be a fantastic event regardless. But like, how do you top this? Where do you go from here?
I was thinking about the answer to this, like most of today as well. Just I think it really just comes down to, well, first of all, definitely reflecting on uh the sort of things that happened in at this regen, and also I think expanding or like broadening like the reach, because they reached out to several international players asking if they're interested in coming to this regen, if I
Mm,
if I understand that right. Because as we know, we had Leo coming. We were supposed to get Cola and Meister. Shame about them.
and base
Uh,
mage.
yes, and Base Mage too. But we still got Leo. We still got Big Boss,
yeah,
who of course, like big fan of. Love seeing him pop up in the UK every now and then. Um, I think it's just really trying to see how much more you can like net in if your team regen. Just I think that's the main way they're gonna do it. I can't really think of many other ways
Well,
unless
I
you
mean,
have something, Chakkie.
I think there'll be some connections built there. Like there was a lot of connections built when they did Invasion Europe, and it led to more Europeans coming to Team Regen events after.
mm,
So you got to hope that like Leo and Big Boss are going to sort of relay how good Regen is, and then if there is a Regen for Ultimate in 2025, you can use that. I think the only other stuff would be like minor stuff on the viewership side of things because uh there is some stuff that was at previous Team Regen events, um, like a quad stream.
yes,
Very minor
understand.
Right.
things,
Yes.
difficult to fit into the venue with the space that they had. So very
Mm,
understandable that they didn't have it. Or like maybe streaming Salty Sweet or something like that, or caring a little bit more about crews. These are like very, very minor things, and I think I get why they didn't do them, especially with like basically all of the after party events had like very sort of minimal production, and it was to make sure the production were ready and raring to go for the next day. And I respect that so much because I think it was definitely worth it. So I don't know how you would. I don't know. Maybe bring in like another TO team to run production on a night shift, like you bring like ELS in or something. But
yeah,
I I don't know how you would do that, but like that would be the next consideration if you were gonna run Regen for Ultimate.
yeah,
It would be like take these side things that aren't really as taken as seriously and bring them up to the level that they are at a lot of other majors where maybe they will be streamed and there'll be a big deal of it and that
mm.
kind of thing.
Yes,
I mean,
because for like Supernova, there was the whole like a couple of Supernovas ago, there was the whole thing of the DK versus Ganon crew battle in Melee that they made a huge deal about. I know that was one of the things, and also in this Supernova, it was Mango Zane, and a couple of others.
yeah,
So was it? Who else was it? Was it?
Mango Zane and Leo Plup, was it maybe? Because was it Plup?
Whoever it
Yeah, or
was.
like think of the way that like 3v3 crews was treated at like
Mm,
Colossal in comparison to Regen. And again, I've explained why, and I think it was a good decision overall. It's just like, what do you make with that in mind? You know, how do you
yeah.
have your cake and eat it too, right? Um, so I think that that would be like the very minor thing if you were going to try and top it. I'm not sure if they will. I'm not sure what direction Regen is going.
Mm,
Um, they've hinted at working on other games, and I think when Rivals 2 drops, there's going to be a lot of stuff for Rivals 2. I don't really know how much further they're going to push Ultimate. I assume still further, but you know, there wasn't a trailer for Regen 2025. It was just sort of Will saying we'll be back in some capacity,
mm.
um, which I think
Because
is interesting. Uh,
yeah, because it
yeah,
does leave it very open.
yeah.
Because
I
as you
mean,
say, like Ultimate is, it's 5 years on now. Next year it'll be
Exactly.
6 at least. And as much as this game has legs, and people are eventually, if people start going to Rivals 2 or other places, you will notice like a drop in viewership, drop in attendances, and it's difficult to keep a game afloat. When you've got other things being released and people are like, I've done this game for 5 years now. Let's go off and do other things.
yeah, I think Rivals 2 comes at a good time for that as well. I think that like if I'm being real with you, like watching it and like looking at the sort of unanimous support for Rivals 2, it does strike me that it might very, very, very big caveat on that. It might breach that sort of PM status where at one point PM was more popular as a game than Brawl or Melee, um,
Mhm.
competitively. So obviously, like from a sales perspective or like a casual fans perspective, I don't think that. But from like
Yeah,
a tournament entrance perspective, I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know. Maybe obviously Brawl and Melee were much smaller scenes back then. It was much easier to surpass them, but um, I do think that there will be a sizable chunk of people who get back into platform fighters because of Rivals 2. And I do think that there'll be like a lot of people who will compete in that game alongside other games. Because it does just strike me as like
yeah. I was
Rivals
gonna
2
say,
Evo I would love. And you know what? Unlike I think they'd need a PS5 port if I'm being real.
It's a
Just for
Sony
convenience
thing,
sake.
right?
But I think that like I mean Evo lets you run tournaments like grassroots.
Uh,
Um, they tried to run a Smash tournament for it because there was like an open stage, but Nintendo said no, obviously. But
yeah,
like Rivals 2 could easily be run that way, right? So there's definitely ways to get it at Evo, and I think I'd love to see that. Yeah, Rivals 2 definitely strikes me as a game that could like go a lot further than the other the other sort of fighter platformers that we've seen over the last few years.
yeah. Because
But
everybody's been talking about Smash Killers. There was Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, and that kind of flopped, from what I understand. And then you had the multiverse, and that kind of flopped. It was good for a while, and then everybody came back. But who took part in the rival scene? At Regen, you had like Mr. R. Leo. They were playing. I know Primplup was
yeah,
playing quite a lot. Focus Miss, there were people there for like an hour, 2 hours at a time, and as soon as they got up, other people sat down and started playing. So I think if the devs support it, which they probably will, that's we've always known that we're going to have to fight Nintendo every step of the way,
mm,
right? I mean, we can't ban characters because they won't let us, and we have to apply for obviously licenses. We're basically at the beck and call of Nintendo. They can just decide to do whatever they want whenever they want. So yeah, it's difficult. And if it starts appearing at Evo, and it gets a lot better, I wouldn't say we're in trouble, but like you can definitely see how like Team Regen, if it takes off, they can be like, oh, let's do this instead. and then all of a sudden, if this becomes the second, the second platform of choice, yeah,
Yeah. That, or maybe like other fighting games or whatever. Like it'll be interesting to see where Team Regen go from here. I know they want to make more content as well. They're beyond the controller stuff. They've got an episode with Leo coming out soon. So if you are interested in podcasts by people in Smash UK, I would recommend going to their channel and looking at the sort of the beyond the controller videos that they've already done. They did a great one with Fabs. They did one with Wills. Very, very high production value sort of
mm,
podcasts that I think could work really, 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 really well and add a lot. Um, I guess we could segue into like what happened during the ultimate bracket though.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
I
there's a
mean,
lot that
Yeah,
happened there.
like Chris said, there's so much that happened. Nobody was safe. Nobody was safe. Everybody was upsets everywhere. Like top 50 seeds, like going like 2-2. Like
yeah,
established top players just losing left, right, and center. It was carnage. It was actual mayhem. So yeah, I
Funny
mean,
use, funny use that word like chaos as well. Just not even the spectators were safe. Like people watching the pools matches, you
oh
know
yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah. They were
um,
not safe at all.
No one
Yeah.
was.
And hey, respect to the players because they were willing to give it back when I was being a bit loud. Respect to Siski for shushing me because I deserve to be shut up. Or
oh
well, not just me, but everyone, the whole UK crowd, and I think the crowds at UK events are like basically unmatched at this point. Maybe
yeah,
France can come close, but I think beyond
yeah,
that, like the especially at Regen, just because it was the loudest of every region. The Netherlands were great, Scandi was great, France, France, uh,
France, yeah, France for
and
France.
Ireland and Scotland were probably the best parts of anyone because they would go there and they would you watch this massive crowd and everybody's sitting there thinking, oh, what's happening? Is it an upset? No, it's a Scottish two-tour versus an Irish two-tour, you know? But
Yeah,
they love
I mean,
cheering. They love cheering for their players. And it was an amazing atmosphere. I'm looking at the upsets here, and there were four big ones.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
Rapid Curry Governor. I was in the crowd for that, and I bore witness to the loudest sound in the universe, otherwise known as the Irish crowd. Uh,
uh,
you,
they got they got good crack, the Irish. I
they
mean, if
I
you're
did.
come,
remember, I
if you're
remember everyone walking out after that set and just going, "The game is shit." To VKC.
Oh dear. I mean, like, if you're coming over for an event and you're flying over, same with Scotland, if you're traveling like what, 5, 6 hours, you know, damn, you better show up and show up they did. Same with things with like France and the Netherlands, you've committed to this trip. You might as well make the most of it and like be as loud as you can. But yeah, there's certainly no like you could just like any country from out of region you know, yeah, they just make so much noise, and the Scots are so good at it as well. They really are supportive of each other. They're like such a tight knit community. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it,
no,
it's
they're
incredible
amazing, and
to
like a lot of that is just the bus travel thing. Like Scotland, when under 22s got free bus travel, Scotland went from like
see.
having a couple good players to being like potentially the best region, probably the best region in Europe relative to the size of its player base.
Yeah,
Without really contact, like just they all meet each other all the time. They're all grinding all the time because they have that opportunity, and I think that's really cool. Um, yeah. So if we segue into the upsets themselves, we had some kind of insane ones. Uh, Kanye Easy beating Blue Sky was the
yes.
one that threw
Mm,
me off the most. Uh,
he he was so tilted. So the law. So I talked to Kanye
it's a
after.
3-0 as well.
It was 3-0. So
really?
unfortunately, Blue Sky had to play me just before that set.
Yeah,
And
I saw
and
that.
in the middle
Yeah,
of that set, he was so tilted. He was like it's like stomping the ground. It was like he was genuinely very, very unhappy that he like was losing. And then I like, and me being me, just did like the biggest pop off ever. And he went
Yeah,
from
I
like
remember.
utter despair to fighting Donkey Kong. And I remember Kanye saying like, I think at one stock, I threw him off stage and he looked away like this. I went, ugh, and then just died. Like he could have recovered, but he was so tilted, he just went, ugh, and then died. And I looked
Oh
at
boy.
Kanye and I was like, "You're welcome for that win because
Yeah.
Oh my
he was
god.
so
Yeah,
tilted."
obviously that was also in contention for one of the crazier runs. Like I'm looking at upsets 4 or higher right now, and it's still like 18 or 19 of them, and yours was like 3. There's too
Yeah,
too many to.
too many. But
um,
Kanye did really, really well. I mean,
So
yeah,
I
you know,
heard, yeah.
beat beat Addy round like 2, and then into Blue Sky. That's an incredible win. And he was super happy with that. And then I don't know who he had next. I think it was Rain, maybe. Was he seeded to play Rain?
Mm,
I don't know who he lost to. But he was
uh,
like, "Man, I got my upset. I'm out."
yeah,
go.
fair enough. Um, Fizma game 5 set against Giggles
Oh,
And you won that,
Fizmo.
won
yeah.
it. Made a couple of other upsets as well. A lot of the time when you see like London unranked get out of pools at a major, it's usually like a kind of favorable bracket. You look at like Basil at Colossal, they beat Spluffy, I think, but like generally like favorable-ish bracket. Um, Fizma did just beat people. Like to be fair, like half
I
of
mean,
his wins were upsets. He just did that.
I, I, I did have a look at his bracket. I think he got like a Kazuya into like a Falcon. I was
Oh
like,
no, it was
what?
favorable matchups.
Yeah, what
Oh, yeah.
what more can you want in a bracket, really? If you're Luigi and you're looking like Kazuya into Falcon, you are just rubbing your hands, just like, give
I'm
me
about
the
to cook,
upsets.
yeah.
Exactly. Like he's just one of
Yeah.
those characters, Luigi. Whereas if you have to interact with him, you're just losing. Like it doesn't matter how good you are. If you get grabbed, you're gonna die. But you've got no choice. But like still to be able to do that, like in under like major tournaments settings, and against Giggles of all people. Let's be real,
Yeah.
against Giggles of all people. And
Yeah.
we saw him at, I think it was Brentwood Ball 3 maybe or 2. He was atoms off of beating Luigi. Mere atoms off of taking a set off the best European Luigi. Like to do that and then just sort of beat Giggles like that, even a bit in a best of 5, that's incredible. Like, yeah. I mean, if you're going to turn up at one event this year, at least make it like a really good event to turn up at, right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Right, okay, sorry.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
Right. We'll just edit it
Um,
out. So yeah,
yeah, cool. Yeah. Um, I think I think Fizma's run was definitely a thing of beauty. The other two upsets that are on here in this top tier are Shanaik over Siski, and I think Shanaik actually had the best run out of any UK player in terms of the wins that he got. Um,
yeah.
Siski, right?
just really solid. He was the sort of success story of the UK, and unfortunately, he was cut short just out of top 8. But his run was really impressive. And Bambi, Mr. R, and Bambi
Ooh.
did have a really good run. Surprisingly, honestly, but really great run from Bambi.
I
Um,
I played friendlies with him on the Friday. I was just sitting down and he was like, "Do you want friendlies?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, I've just flown in." Flown in. It was like 8:30 at night. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I just finished my day job because an after school teacher in Sweden." And he was like,
Alright.
"Oh, I drove to Copenhagen Airport, then flew to Birmingham, took an Uber from Birmingham to Leicester. Here I am. I got up at 8 o'clock this morning. Do you want to play friendlies?" I was like, "Yes, yeah, go then."
It's just
Like
eager
one,
to blow off that steam, yeah.
yeah, uh, hey,
yeah.
it
I mean,
works.
I was talking to him about his run before and after, and he was like, "Yeah, I've got Mr. Ant, tomorrow seeded. I've played him a few times, but he's always won." but he was like, I think I've got this. And I was like, you go for it, mate. You go for it. And then I saw him after he made his upset. Ah, what a lovely man Bambi is.
I can imagine.
Absolute
Yeah.
legend. He's so nice. We played friendlies like an hour. He's such a lovely person. Bless him. He deserved it. But yeah, what an upset. Like I said, nobody was safe in that bracket. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
no one was safe at all, and yeah, Bambi definitely has a style that like suits matchups like that. He's a little bit more aggressive than some of the other Wii Fits. He's somebody who likes to sort of jump in near you or like do lots of anti-airs and stuff. I saw him have to fight Akazuya like pretty soon after that, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of like every Wii Fit has that problem, apart from maybe HD Trainer and Oolong, where it's like in order to play the character at like the super duper 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 high level, you have to know like three different characters in one and just switch between them depending on the matchup. And a lot of Wii Fit players struggle when they're given matchups like that. Well, like I'm sure if I put John Numbers against any Kazuya on the planet, there's a decent chance he wins. Because like if you just ledge plank or you just like physically plank and crouch, there isn't much Kazuya can do. But if you try and jump in there, it's like, oh, it's over, right? Um,
I will say though, to be fair, I'm very much not surprised that Kazuya was the one causing like 75% of these upsets. How many Kazuyas just made upsets?
they
Nothing
they make
against people
upsets, but they
playing them.
also get upsets. Like
No.
Kazuya is the most fake character in the game. He like plus twos Roy and minus twos Duck Hunt.
Hmm.
Yeah, but there's no Duck Hunt players. That's the problem.
That's
Champs
Like
true.
if you're
Master.
That's
gonna
true.
if you're gonna
Damn.
lose, there's Champ Man, but like genuinely, where are the high level Duck Hunts? So like they're nowhere. You'll
Are you
find one
disrespecting
per
Sekai Gogo?
country.
Paint even.
you'll
Damn.
you'll find one per country, and then you'll find like 50 Roys. Like if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna have a bad matchup, I'd rather it be Duck Hunt than Roy. But like you
Yeah.
know,
yeah. No, of course, of
I'm
course.
not surprised that character still makes upsets to this day. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like Pitwolf also beat Mr. R. Um,
yeah,
there were a lot of moments like that. You know who also made a lot of upsets?
who?
Ooh.
Little Mac.
Oh,
Oh,
Little Mac.
nobody. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
nobody
yeah.
actually. Gluto actually told nobody that his run was the most impressive French run of the tournament, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, I think every
Um,
other French player just got where they were seeded. It's like, if Mezcor went from 13th to 7th, so that's like, yeah.
That's
It's
my
not,
goat.
yeah. Or Gluttony
he
went
did
from
beat
like,
Lugi to be fair, which is kind of nutty.
Yeah,
yeah,
Um,
that's one of Ridley's best wins, I think. Yeah, it's just funny to think for was it Let's Make Luminosity Make Smooth Miami or something like that, where Smub almost beat Light. I'm just thinking, we were
yeah.
so close to having a good win, and now we've got Mezcal beating Lugi. Like, oof. I'm liking where this character's heading right now.
I mean, you can sort of see how the matchup works. Like in your head, you can see how both characters win. Like, Luigi just combos Ridley forever because he's just big. But
And
then,
Ridley
like,
just platforms and stays in the air. Yeah,
yeah, and then just once you're off stage, it should just be like run off forward air, GGs, right?
it's really simple
But
like that. Yeah,
it really is. Like, what is he gonna do? Green missile? All right then, run off nair. Look at my
yeah,
bigger
yeah,
hitbox.
yeah,
the like being edge guarded is like kind of the problem in that matchup. But at the same time, Ridley's massive and he's light, so he's basically
Yeah,
the easiest character to kill if you're Luigi. The other one of the other bigger upsets was actually Shanaik over Mezcul, because Shanaik, yeah, again, Shanaik had a crazy run.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, just beating Siskri alone would have been amazing. Like, if
mm,
that was it, we'd still be here singing his praises because I assume it was Inkling that won it.
yeah,
actually,
Inkling
I can have a look.
Summers.
So
But like,
Shanaik went Aegis into Schmick's tape. So Towdy
yeah,
yeah,
got 6-0'd by Aegis, and he
yes,
told me he wanted to kill himself after.
yeah, he did.
Uh, yeah,
Bless him.
Then he beat Siski and Mezcal solo Inkling.
I mean,
Ooh.
for a character, I've been saying this all along that Inkling is still good, and everybody's like, no, 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 2019 character, 29, and
Whoa!
no, no, no,
You're forgetting that Shanaik switched off of Inkling into like solo Rosalina, and
What?
you know
When was that?
that to qualify for top 8.
no,
And switched off of Inkling for Yoshi as well to beat Schmixtape. Like the Inkling can do it with like a good secondary, because Inkling as a character 5 years into the game, you can have a secondary and have an Inkling.
yeah,
She's not like as demanding as some of the other characters. More demanding than a lot of characters, but not more demanding than some of the characters that you would have to solo main.
mm,
And yeah, his only losses were Gluttony and Solo, who both made it. He lost to third and seventh for ninth, which
yeah.
is, yeah, losing to seventh for ninth isn't a massive
That's cool.
deal, but losing to third in winners is kind of rough.
Speaking of solo maining, Anvil making it to top 64, and I think 25th.
25th, yeah.
Yeah, beating
Yep.
Longo on the way. Wow. So yeah, I told you, Mewtwo's can beat Rob. Like,
He did also lose to Toe Jam.
yeah, that
true.
one's a bit more work in progress. But we can go toe to toe with Rob. There's our proof.
Oh, jury's still out on that one. If he beat Big Boss, then I think people would be like, I mean, Longo's still a good win. Don't get me wrong. Longo's amazing. Like, but yeah, next time,
Give me
next.
Big Boss next big bracket. I'll make it happen.
Oh, let's make it happen, please. Everybody, make it happen. I mean, yeah, I mean, 25th with Mewtwo is such a good achievement. Um, you know, character's a bit whack, but he works. He's functional. And obviously beating Longo is an amazing. Who did he lose to for 25th?
There was the Toe Jam loss, and then I think it was it after him? Chakkie, do you have it up somewhere or?
The Yeah, I can show you the Anvil path.
Um, yeah, 25th. Because the thing is, like, to get 25th, you had to lose to like a good player, like a really good one of Europe's top
He
to
lost to
get to
Lancelot.
25th. Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
Right,
there we go.
yeah.
Like, if you came in the top 32, you lost to a good player in losers, like a
Yeah.
phenomenal player in losers, like, because past 25th, you got all of like the EUPR. Like, every player in the top 25 was probably ranked top 100, if not top 50, plus unique. So yeah, it was a really difficult. If you got that far, well done. But there were no easy meals after that, and I can imagine Mewtwo Roy is going to be very difficult. Um, you just die at like 60 constantly,
Yeah. When I
surely,
tried it, oh
and
true,
then
yeah.
yeah, Lancelot beat Bloom in the next round. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Um,
Bloom, Aegis and Roy. I think he ended up losing to, didn't he? Space and Lancelot,
yeah.
which he's had,
I mean
which he's
the space loss aged very well very quickly. Um,
yeah,
because
In what way?
space was just on a blinder, and Lancelot is a player that he's lost to before. I think,
yeah,
It was Regen last year.
yeah. He Bloom used to have this kind of inevitability about him where he would figure you out in the last possible second, and it would just work. And I've seen him figure people out in the last possible second, but those people have like one or two things in their back pocket
mm,
that just immediately turns the tide, because Bloom no longer has any opportunities to fuck up. So just having that extra mix up, or that extra like thing that you can store away, that he's not going to be ready for if he does figure you out, is so important, I think, to beating somebody like Bloom, who loves a good reverse 3-0, and loves to kind of like play the long game and adapt to you in the long run. I think just having like a lot of people before were taking him to his limit and then not getting through, and now when he's at his limit, they have something that they can just pull out when they need it, and it helps them get over the line.
I will say though, I think obviously the game has been this mature. I think a lot of people are studying a lot harder, and the gap at the top is kind of closing. Not just skill wise, but if you're a top player, or even if you're a high level player in brackets like these, I think it's becoming a lot more prominent that people are ready for you. Because
Yeah.
it used to be that people would just rock up to a tournament, if you won, you won, you lost, you lost. But nowadays, I think, even if you're, fourth round in winners, your top 64 is somebody you've not heard of, but they're kind of good. There's a big chance that they've like researched you and done a lot of homework on you, and they're ready for you and they're ready for all your tricks. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot more upsets in sort of modern day tournaments, because people are just studying a lot more. Um, and yeah, definitely information like that. And like you say, if just keep that one read in the back of your pocket, that one habit that they have, but you just let them get away with it. If you hit it at the right moment, that can be devastating. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's as the game goes on and we get more tournaments like this, people are just going to continue to just push each other. There's going to be like an arms race of I studied you a little bit more harder than you studied me. And I think the higher level players are starting to do that a lot more, um, which is what they needed to do, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sorry if I did a little or yeah, sorry if I made a little mistake there, because Bloom's pronouns did change recently. I actually found out when I think
Oh,
Avery texted me to change them on like the EUPR document, and then they were also different on the Regen stream as well. Um, so that is something that I have to keep in mind and be a little better with.
oh. May I
But
ask what
yeah,
they?
it's like they, she, z it, I think.
Ah, okay. I'm usually the last to figure things out. I suppose it's Twitter, is it?
They're not on Twitter.
Ah, okay.
No, it was just on the regen overlay, like it's on start.gg, so that's what the
I
commentators
see.
know to use, and
They
they
okay.
yeah, but yeah, that's probably worth mentioning as well for anybody in the comments referring to Bloom, right? Um, so yeah, but Bloom, of course, still in a pretty good spot overall. I'd say nothing too crazy. Amble did get some wins because we were talking about Amble at one point before his loss to Lancelot. It
Mm.
was Longo, it was Louis, Wi-Fi Louis, I think, did enter and did
Yes,
all
it
right.
was. It
Yes.
was at Louis. Yeah.
Do you
And
know?
beat Zangrix as well.
I was gonna say I've never met this person called Louis, but everybody keeps talking about them, and they're like, "Oh, Louis is really good. Louis is really good. Oh, Louis is here," and I've never managed to see them in, and I still haven't. I've not managed to. They've managed to elude me, but yeah, I think every time I
Louis
used.
went to DBZ, I think, the one at Here East.
Yeah, it was the one in that big like convention center place, right?
Yeah, and they did all right there, but I think they might have gotten upset at one point because it was like the pressure of like crowds was kind of the problem. I think just because of how big Regen was, there weren't really that many. Like I'm sure there was probably a crowd for when he 3-0'd Crub because Crub is Irish, but beyond that, like there weren't. I can't remember there being too much pressure on a lot of Louis sets, just because everybody's everywhere else. There's so many sets to look at that people aren't paying as much attention. But I mean, their bracket went exactly as seeded. It
Yeah,
was like pretty regular.
I mean,
Um,
97th
that
though,
was nice. Hmm?
still a good. 97th is still, still a good
Oh no, it's
outing.
a very good placement,
Yeah.
especially for somebody who doesn't enter a lot of tournaments. It's like really, really good. And Louis is known for just like grinding with people in arenas and like being very good players.
Just casually beating
So
good players. Yeah.
yeah, for somebody
Artillery.
who's like unfamiliar to a tournament setting, like doing that well is very, very impressive. Yeah. The other, well, we had nobody as well who had the highest SPR out of the bracket. If you care
Mac,
about that,
man.
that's
With Mac.
+6.
With
With
Mac.
Mac, with Little
With
Mac, beat
Mac.
Dimitri.
Yes, I saw that live.
Yeah, I did too.
I
Very
believe
funny set.
at one point they were being edge guarded and they used the long stem strike to like edge guard and they countered it. That
That's
was
brilliant,
I mean
actually. Yeah, wow.
I mean the awareness to sort of do that is incredible. As Mac, by the way, like and his and their path was crazy. Like you said, they beat Achilles, they lost to Jester, um, beat Ewan, beat Jezzo, beat Doorman in the Mac Ditto.
Yep.
I mean, was there a crowd for a Mac Ditto?
I
I
don't
don't
remember
think so.
seeing anything like that.
These
No.
are the things that should be on stream. This is why we need more stream. We wanted
Yeah,
to see the
we
Mac
need Mac
Ditto.
Mythos on stream. Yeah, okay.
Beat Sanzi despite losing to Jester. So that was crazy. And then beat Epsilon the Palutena. And then elite tweet the Falco, which was crazy. I mean, I can see how that might be okay for Mac, but damn. And then they even took a game with Maze Beans. How do you win
Oh,
Little Mac
really?
Steve?
I don't know.
You don't.
I mean,
You have to be the better
apparently
player, yeah.
apparently now, but he did because he took a game. He's
No, I took a game of Maze.
incredible.
I doubt Maze played Steve in that. I
No,
doubt it.
it
I
was
mean,
all
I'd be
Steve,
impressed.
all
Maybe.
Mac. It was game 2 that he took,
Okay,
or they took.
Really?
maybe. I mean, if you were gonna win it, it would have to be like just severe outplays. Like you just
Mm.
swing really hard and you guess correctly and you kill Steve for minecarting with an up smash at like 60 or some shit. Like you have to like properly outplay. But I don't know. People are getting better at that matchup in general. Probably. I don't think Max Steve is really great. The Steves in general didn't do super amazing at the event. I mean, Crep Soleil was forced off of Steve in top 8. Um,
Mm.
Susu underperformed slightly, not by much, but slightly. Maze Beans did about as well as expected, I think.
Lost to
There
Lancelot
wasn't
Yeah.
at
like
the end.
this was one of Europe's first majors with a lot of Steves, and there wasn't
Mm.
too much Steve chaos. One of the few things we did see, I think, was Moon's run.
Moon,
Uh,
yes.
That's
yes,
right, yeah.
What a run.
what a
I
run!
mean,
So
49th is really, really good. I have 49th with quite a few good wins as well. And
yeah,
I didn't I kind of know about this player because I was doing a series, or I'm going to do a series about like under the radar players from like different regions. And I was speaking to some Blades people and they were like, yo, do Moon. I was like, who on earth is Moon? And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's a Steve, surely. And then I looked at their result here. Incredible. They got a wombat win.
yeah, nuts. And you can sit there and you can clown on the matchup, but I mean, Wombat. Let's be clear here. Wombat
Yeah.
has played before and done well, and on top of that, I mean, Wombat as a like mentality wise is always willing to take on bad matchups and win in bad matchups. Wombat
Yeah.
has beat Pelly multiple times.
Yes.
Mm. I mean, as a
So,
DK player, that's what you got to do, right? As a DK player, you're just like, well, those matchups probably bad for me, but I'm DK, so I just don't care. You stop
yeah,
caring. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, Moon lost a deep freeze twice. That is super unfortunate.
Is that Joker or
Yeah, the Swiss Joker.
okay?
Yeah, I mean they lost to him in top 152, their second game of the day, and then they met them in top 64 losers side. I mean, that's rough to lose to the same person twice.
What are the odds of that?
yeah.
Like I had a major too.
Yeah. There were like 500 people here. What do you do if you're like?
I'd be
700
mad,
people, I think.
honestly. Yeah.
What do you do if you lose to somebody on Saturday and then it's Sunday? You're on this crazy run and you sit down at damn, it's you again. Ah, it's like,
You know,
man.
Mr. R almost got double eliminated by Bambi. That would have been a hilarious timeline. But unfortunately, no.
Oh
I think
no.
Bambi's run was sorted a little bit early. But yeah, I mean Moon beating Wombat is a big one. Beating Bruhu as well, like decent
Mm,
win. Uh yeah, Amin as well, decent French Palu who I think themselves overperformed quite a lot.
yeah,
Um as a lot of the French did, if I'm being real.
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
It,
Amin did really well because it was Palu Kirby dual main, or actually mostly Kirby, but like switched to Palu recently. So Amin beat Lumen, beat Astra, beat Frisky, and then went game 5 with Moon.
yeah. I mean, but yeah, Lumen must have played Kerbo like 100 times, surely. I mean, that's a matchup that they probably know quite
Um,
well.
I was gonna say, I mean, we didn't get character data. We just know that Amin has played Kirby more often. If I was Amin, I'm playing Palu into Rob every day of the
Oh
week.
yeah.
So that's
uh,
that was probably probably the pick there. Couple of other runs, what Curse Cake, Epsilon, lots of French people, lots of French people doing well.
the French,
Uh,
Unsurprising. Yeah.
the French come to play. Let's be honest. Like
Yeah.
their esports
yeah,
scene is so far ahead of everybody else's on the planet, apart from like
Not,
Japan's. Like you
not
can,
even a question about it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like Glucini trains everybody up in France, so like it's not surprising. Um,
yeah,
and then obviously, like I said, their esports scene is so big. I think Zanati went over there and just got like a sponsor like immediately. They're like, we'll just pay for you to go to tournaments. You're like, sweet. So if you want to get good at Smash Brothers, move to
Oui,
France.
s'il vous plaît.
go to France. Yeah, learn French, pick it up.
Yeah, learn French.
Um,
Get that
yeah, no,
Gluto coaching.
they're miles ahead. So there were some French players being upset. Ryukai, of course, got upset by Space.
Mm.
Yeah, Ryukai, Bloom, Tarek back to back to back was certainly like that's nuts to be able to achieve that. And then losing to what Leo game 5 and then Big Boss. I mean, wild,
Um, First and
genuinely
third.
wild.
Oh, second and third. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, he must have had an amazing. They must have had an amazing tournament. They must have felt so good. I mean, everything at the top just is just unpredictable. I think at the moment, um, especially in Europe, those top 20, 30 players, feels like anything can happen. If somebody's just playing a little bit better than the other guy, then they're going to win. It's actually crazy.
yeah. Um, it's kind of nuts. We've got a few players like putting themselves into UPR tier contention
Mm.
pretty early on into the season, just from like very, very good runs at Regen.
Interestingly, that Pharaoh did okay. Um, got 13,
Yeah, about right. There
about
wasn't
right. Yeah.
anything to like. Uh, Pharaoh. If you're looking at the data, you can argue that Pharaoh had a lucky path. I think still had to go through some bad matchups and some good players, but
Mm,
got upset by Youssef. Didn't have to make an upset um, after that, and still sort of outperformed his seed. But generally, like again, he had some difficult matchups. He had Kazuya, he had Rob with the dad.
mhm.
He had Nut Lord as well. Samus is a notoriously annoying matchup for Yoshi. So um,
His
yeah,
run
just
ended
nice
with
persevere.
Mezcal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, lost to Mezcal, game 5.
3-2. I think it was like a three stock that game, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly. It was brutal.
Mezcal doesn't do close wins. He three stocks you or he dies.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's just
sounds
sort
like
of Ridley.
Mezcal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sort of Ridley altogether. You're feast or famine with that character. If you get the
well
read,
that's the Yeah, and Mezcor is another one who was like he was like top 20. He's probably top 10 now.
I can
But
believe it.
like
Yeah.
right now, probably he beat Kerbo, he beat Pharaoh, he beat Lugi. That's
Yeah.
kind of nuts.
That's
As
my
like
goat.
as a loser's run goes.
Yeah.
He beat like Solid as well.
I helped him in that matchup too.
Yusuf.
He beat Youssef.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good win.
Yeah.
I mean, his loss was Tarek and Shanique. I mean, Tarek is what, a top
Those
4
aren't bad
player?
losses at all.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
No,
good for
Tarek
Ridley.
is like probably top 4 player in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's easily top 5 right now.
Yeah.
And Shanique was on one of the best runs of the tournament, so can't really fault anything there. Be interesting to see where Shanique ends up. Don't really know what events he's traveling to, but he's definitely put in an amazing name for himself with that run.
Mm.
I think, yeah, it's the best I've seen him play since probably at least Rise 2, if not sort of Tea Party reunion type gameplay. So
Yeah. I mean, Shanique's always the player that, in my mind, is super solid. It just depends on how they're playing on the day and how
yeah,
good their mental is. I mean, if you're talking about peak Shanique, yeah, absolutely. You know, top 5. There isn't really anybody that he can't beat, or they can't beat if they choose not to. And that was, like you say, on full display at Regen. And again, if you're going to have a tournament where you just go ham, right? What better one than Regen, really?
Very
Um,
true. Yeah.
They were the joint highest English player there with Lugi.
Lugi and Bloom, yeah.
Lugi, who got 9th, and then Schneek got 9th as well. And
Yeah.
again, what were their losses? Gluto and Solo. I mean, Solo's just an interesting one in general. I find like Rosalina in this meta, kind of crazy, but kind of works.
You'd be surprised. I mean, Rosa, like, it's not like there were forgiving matchups. I
No,
mean, the first 3 were like heavies, but you're gonna beat the first 3 anyway.
yeah,
Or first 4 actually. Well, to
yeah,
be fair, I'd say Wombat is the only forgiving matchup here. The rest of it is what Crom. I guess Rosa does okay just because of like Luma's ability to edgeguard in terms of like Crom and Roy, but not a super like still a very good top tier character. Luigi, I'd say, is a favorable matchup. A very favorable matchup actually, but Luigi is built different, so he won. Then you have Snake, which is not favorable for Rosa. Pichu or Aegis, which is not super favorable for Rosa. Aegis or Inkling, again, not super favorable, and Rob. So it's not like a lot of these characters are just meta relevant ones. Like, apart from Luigi and Donkey Kong, these are all like very common characters to see in your bracket. So maybe there's something to say about Rosa, because I think that as we head towards like more touch of death characters, Rosa is like one of the best at dealing with that because she can cheat her way out and she can keep you at bay, especially ones that like struggle when it comes to like jumping in. You know, that's
yeah,
why, according to Luigi, Rosa is Luigi's worst matchup because it's like playing against, you know, a Belmont or a Samus, except when you get in, you don't get your 0 to death because you get hit.
get hit by Luma. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and you know, you can't. Yeah, Luma is just a fantastic interrupt tool, um, and she's just so good at interrupting people. And then of course you've got to do the mental gymnastics of, if I'm dealing with Rosa, is she going to ping me into Luma for some wacky combo or wacky setup that you just don't see every day? Because you know there are a few Rosalinas at the top of the like Europe. You've obviously got like Homika, and then there's another one.
Mpopo
Yeah,
from
M
France.
Popo from France.
I've
So
not
you've
heard
got a
of
few,
them
but
before.
yeah, M Popo's kind of like they're very good at France. I think they've had a few upsets recently. They're
Okay.
like a high
Yeah,
level. They're like
they do well.
on the rise. They do well.
Yeah, they're on the French PR. They're probably one of like the billion French hidden bosses on one Lumi rank.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've just got Japan at home, really, in France, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, like every time I look at like a French like tournament, I'm just like, I have no idea who that is, but they beat like two PR players and they won the tournament. It's just like it's crazy. It genuinely is just Japan at home because
Yep.
yeah. Oh damn! Have you heard about this new French like I don't know D player? No. Well, they beat Pluto. It's like what am I doing now? Right? Oh damn! Have you heard about this French Doctor Mario who's won a D tier over I don't know Mezquel? You're like, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me
No.
anymore. It would not
I had
surprise.
a flashback to when Orion went dot at Genesis and like reverse 3-0'd someone
Ew, what?
in top 64, and it was like,
Yeah.
what's happened there?
Like damn! Like, what else
He's
can you
built
do?
different. He's built different. Yeah, no, France is just like that. Like they've just got a bunch of players like that. Like Je suis Shock even, and that's before the proper rise of French esports. But like they have like Je suis Shock and Night Pixel, you know,
Night Pixel, yeah,
like other
Kirby.
players. Yeah, yeah. Je suis Shock as well, obviously. Like that was Kirby's first big result was him like getting to like second at like some French C tier near and losing to only Gluttony. Um
Is he even that good if he lost to Gluttony?
Turbo would have won.
That is true.
Uh
Kirby
Real.
would have won.
It's true. It's true as a fact. It's a known fact. Gluto's run was like kind of the headliner, which we haven't really spoke about.
True.
Um,
He had to beat this
he
guy
is
over
back.
here. He had
He
to beat
went.
this guy. Yeah, QualiT,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
he had to beat me. That makes him the only person who could have won the tournament. Let's be honest.
True. Yeah.
And it was an
True.
8-minute best of 5,
I
including character
remember.
stage pictures.
I appreciate
I
going Olimar. I rate going Olimar. I think that was a smart idea.
Oh yeah, I was never gonna go Simon. That matchup is ass.
Yeah.
But like,
Well,
it's
I mean,
kind of like, what do I even do? It's kind of like hitting a mosquito.
that's the thing. For a third seed, he actually had a run that contained a lot of people who made upsets. Like he had like he had Kanye Easy, he had Shanaik. Um, but at the end of the day, he's back.
He's back, yeah.
Yeah. It, it,
He put the Procon away.
yeah. He put the Procon away. The GameCube controller
Yep.
was out, and let me tell you, he did not miss an up air. He did not miss an up air.
He dropped
Uh,
5 games across 10 sets.
yeah.
Oh, God.
And 2 of them were to Steve. So
Yeah, but credit to him, he learned that matchup.
Something
And
interesting I found out, because he was streaming today, like talking about his like his run at Regen. Obviously, I couldn't understand much of it because I don't really speak much French. But someone in chat gave me a bit of lore around the whole thing he talked about with Snake before, because we all thought he's picking up Snake, right?
oh yes, the snake.
Turns out that's fake. That's not real at all. That's just what's the word?
A red herring
Yeah, it's just that.
distraction.
And we could see some of that at Regen as well. Like he stuck to Wario for Crêpe Soleil, and
Mm,
like yeah, his clearly did not need Snake at all.
no, I think
no,
if you're a character specialist, and let's be clear, he is a specialist. He
Yes.
played Wario in Brawl, and Wario was good in Brawl. And he played him in Smash 4, and Wario wasn't as good as Smash 4 because like 2 stocks, waft confirms weren't really there. He's just kind of a jank character in 4. But
Mm,
he's good again in Ultimate. So yeah, there. I don't think. I think if Wario had like 10-2 matchups, Wario he would find a way to just win them.
yeah.
There is nobody on this earth that Glutozy just couldn't beat. There's no. I don't think he's worried. He's like,
I think
oh,
the only one
apart,
is Sonic's, and he's even taken him to his limit. That's
yeah,
like the only
Mm,
question mark for Gluto right now is Sonic's. I
yeah,
could see Gluto beating basically every other matchup, And I could see Gluto at this point being almost any other Sonic. I could see Gluto beating Ken. I think that's happened before already. I could see him beating Pelly because it's happened before already, and probably like Wrath. I'd put in that sort of tier. Sonic's is the question, because I think what Sonic's has that a lot of other Sonic players don't is this ability to use Sonic's mobility in an aggressive way and not corner himself and just outplay you when he's down. And it's once you add that on top of Sonic's kit, that's when you're dealing with like the terrible nightmare top one Sonic instead of the sort of like what we thought Sonic would be like when we came back from offline.
Yeah.
When we came back from online, and people were going to be like, Sonic without a lead, he's not that good. He's not that good. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Sonic's has the ability to tap into like Sonic's aggressive potential in a way that truly makes him like that top one character. Whereas I think some of the other Sonics will typically corner themselves a bit too much out of fear.
Yeah.
And that can like make it things easier for Gluttony because he'll feast off that every day of the week.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with Sonics that they like to sort of like see how you approach and see how you deal with it, and they're kind of relying on you to like run out of steam and like stamina. But obviously, like a player like Gluttony, stamina's no issue, right? Like he's been playing this game countless tournament runs, you know, well into the night. He's not gonna like lose steam. He's not gonna lose. And the more you're like spinning around and doing things, the more he's analyzing you, and he's gonna be like, okay, I'm noticing this X, Y, and Z. I've got waft. All I need to do is Z, and then they spin around. Let me waft you, and the game's in his favor.
Well,
While I was
Whereas
watching
that's
him,
something that like a lot of top players have said, right? Is that Gluto is the best player in the world when he's like figured in terms of like adapting and in terms of how good he is when he's figured you out. He's the best in the world at it.
yeah,
Like Leo and Tweak have said that before, where it's like when he figures you out, that's it. It's over. So it's just can he figure it out? I guess.
it's like when I was watching him play versus you, Tom. Like we could see, like on a serious note, we could see just how quickly he was able to adjust playing to such a unfamiliar sort of matchup. Well, I mean, surely he's played like shoot on in the matchup before, right?
he's played shoot on, but I don't think he's ever beaten the Olimar. But he's beaten Dabuz so badly, but Dabuz doesn't even bother to. He goes Rosa these days.
True.
But like,
Yeah.
what was hard about him? Like, you can see it on my YouTube channel. Like 8 stock to me across 3 games. I've beaten the best players. Like I've taken games off like Bloom. I've played some of really really good players. I've never felt so helpless in my life versus somebody. Like I just did not know what was going on, and I tried everything I could think of. Like I would be like, oh, I'll just neutral get up shield twice and condition him, and then like I rolled and he immediately got my roll. I was like, I'm not rolled on yet. This is game 2. I keep neutral get up in shield. I just need to get out of the corner.
Honestly,
Bam.
a lot of
Caught
that
that.
is just because he reacts.
He reacts, yeah.
If we're being real, yeah, no, because a lot of people don't do like um when offline came back, players like Gluto and Light got like mega buffed because they don't do uh reads when they ledge trap anymore. They just reaction ledge trap.
Mm.
It's like because you can spot the difference between a roll and the other animations pretty early. So it's just like if you have buttons that cover most of the other stuff, you can spot like get up attack, and then like there are some characters where it's annoying, like Steve or like Game and Watch, but
Yeah.
a lot of top players they'll just react now, and it's like Gluto's autopilot is like best in the world potentially. He's the only player I've seen who will like go through pools at P tier and not drop a stock.
I'm willing to
Like
bet.
that, he'll just do that, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know what the fuck's happened, but good job, I
I,
guess.
I'm willing to bet those spotlights that were happening throughout pools didn't affect him one bit. Well, I
oh,
mean,
those spotlights were evil, man. I said that on the
uh,
Friday. Like, if you were playing in pools and somebody took a stock on the mainstream, they would like blink and
like,
flash.
yeah,
I was
like
so That was so
I think it
tilted.
was quite unanimous that was probably
That
some.
worked for top 8.
Yeah,
That
it
works
did.
for top 8, yeah, but
That
not when
worked
you're
for top 8.
not when you're trying to concentrate in pools. You're trying to play, and all of a sudden you could just get flashbanged by like 7 lights. You're just like, ah, turn it off, turn it off.
I don't know who was in charge of that whole part of production, but
It was the
clearly
French
someone was
team, I think.
very, very excited to get a hold of that technology. I mean, it works for top 8, but like during pools, it's a bit.
I mean, it was amazing that they had like such good lighting production and stuff. It was yeah, but that lighting effect during pools is a bit some considerations needed to be made. It was the same with like the sets being so loud. Like I get the point. You want to be able to hear it from the back of the venue, but if you're sitting at the front of the venue to watch the stream, it's so loud that you can't hear it properly because it's echoing off of everywhere. And if you're sitting like and if you're sitting in pools, it's so loud that it's a distraction. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, but
it's
like they
hard.
adapted, they fixed a lot of the issues. And again, like it's a phenomenal event. Um, yeah. What else
Yeah.
was there to look
I'll be honest. I kind of wanted another stream. I mean, there was
Yes,
so many
I think
games. There
a
was. I
quad
understand.
stream
Yeah,
would be nice. Would
would
have
be
been
nice.
very nice. Not even a quad stream, just like get Mystic Squad in or something. But
Mm,
I understand there wasn't as much space. Like with the
yeah,
Albion setup, with the Curry sponsorship, I don't know where you would put it.
They
no.
did have a one for Melee around the end, I did see, but that was the only other stream I saw for a
Oh
Is
yes,
private
that
they
event.
not
had.
just
Yeah.
set up where the second stream was, or was that actually
That was on the
upstairs?
opposite side, I
Yeah,
think. So like
yeah,
opposite
Oh,
where the bar was.
that's where the Curry sponsorship was though.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
they cleared all
on
that space up for
on
the
the
Melee side.
Sunday.
Day 3,
Yeah.
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 I think because
Um,
especially because Invasion had 3 streams because you had the 2 at the front and then you
Mm.
had the other one upstairs. Like there are so many good sets that you'll probably that the people at home
What?
were like looking at. They were like, "Man, I wish I could have seen that set."
Weren't there two
And like,
yeah.
upstairs?
Well, it's like one of the appeals of EU majors is that like all of the in the past we haven't necessarily had a quad stream because we'd have 5 streams. Which
yeah,
obviously is a bit of an exact, but you know what I mean. Like you would bring in like a Spanish team and they would do a stream, and a French team and they would do a stream,
yeah,
and then you would have like 2 main streams. So you'd have 4 streams total. But I don't think there was enough venue space to do something like that. So I can
yeah,
kind of see why, but I would have still preferred if there was something, or at least if one of the setups was like a quad stream or something like that.
mm,
I know that quad stream casting can be a pain. I know that hosting a quad stream can be like hosting a quad stream can be a pain, and like doing overlays for a quad stream is absolutely a pain. Um,
I
like
mean,
Mm.
even if you didn't have commentators and even if you didn't have overlays, it would have been nice to just have the footage, right? Especially if you're trying to
mm,
improve and like, because I had to record mine on my phone because they only did winners. So as soon as I got sent to losers, it was like, right, no stream games. So I had to record them on my phone. And if you're trying to like improve and like you got this far and you had like good sets, there was no way to other unless you recorded them, there was no way to sort of do it. And my point is that it's like it's better to have them recorded, even if there's nothing there, than just to let them fall away. Because like
yeah,
there were so many good sets in losers that was happening, but they're just lost to time. And
Mm.
especially as a viewer, it was you ended up typically seeing like the same people on stream because they only streamed winners. It was like you would see like Nate or you, for example, and then like 2 hours later he'd be back on. It's like, well I watched this like 2 hours ago.
it's limiting too because there were very good loser sets that could have been
Oh, so
amazing
many
on a stream.
sets.
Um,
But this is the problem. Like, if it's this is an A tier, right? This is like the best event of the country this year. Like, I feel like you need at least 3 streams. You know, a quad stream would be amazing, but like you need at least 2 winners and at least 1 losers, so you can at least have some variety. Because there were some losers runs that we saw, but they just got lost to time, like Moon's runs, like 7 sets in
Good
a row.
results.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
like
You're
seven.
right.
Nutty runs as well, and I get that. Like, I think again, like the only thing that you could, everything that was done to a very high quality,
Mm,
and the only thing you could really ask for with Regen is more of it, like more of the
more
side
of it.
events, more
Mm.
Yeah,
streams, more, which is a testament to how well it was run, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And
Are there any
I,
other? Oh,
I
go
would
ahead.
also say this is just my personal preference. I would have loved to have done another match on the Saturday and had top 64 start on Sunday, as opposed to starting top 128 on Sunday.
Mm.
Just because of like just mental stamina. Like that, it was difficult because like I only played. I granted I won my 3 games, but I only played 3 games on Saturday, and that was it. I showed up, went 3-0, and that was it. Where I had like my opponents were more difficult on the Sunday, like fatigue wise, it would have been much easier if they put if I had an extra game on Saturday, and then I could come into Sunday being like, right, I've got the like air quotes easy part out of the way. Now I have to like I can use my energy. I've got a whole day to like pace myself and sweat for Sunday because I've done that and I know air quotes easy work on Saturday. I don't think it would have taken that much longer to run because you're only talking about 2 or 3 extra games. I don't know.
Yeah.
That might have been me though. Yeah.
The
I mean, we had the days to do it.
well, the first day wasn't really for like bracket; it was for side events, right?
Mm.
But like the second day, maybe they could have. I think the thing that I'll give Regen is that everything ran on time, and part of
Oh
that's
yeah.
because they gave a lot of time for everything, and part of it is also because they did start both of the day, like the second and third days, quite late.
Mm.
11
A
a.m.
bit like it was like 11 a.m. instead of
Yeah.
like 10 a.m. And I think
11 a.m. games. Well, that's the most evil thing ever. I'm sorry. I'm just old, but 11 a.m.
I'm also thinking about it in terms of just how late some of the pools ran
yeah,
as well.
you, sure. And like starting the yeah, like the some of the pools overran, some of the pools were like faster, and I think it like generally evened out a bit. But I will say, I think that extra hour might have sped the tournament up overall because I do know that a lot of delays in bracket come from people sleeping in. So it's probably worth mentioning.
Uh, you say that, but a few people were icing out, I've heard.
Oh,
I'm not going to go into
Mm.
too much detail on that.
Griseous gossip? Griseous gossip?
Well, I mean, Chakkie, you've seen the whole talk about it in Falco Court. Don't name any names, but there's been like some people being accused of like icing out, right? You remember that?
Icing out? Oh, what, like taking a while to? Yeah, there's been accusations. I mean, that's always going to happen. It's not like a banned thing anyway, as long as you're not being so egregious as to stall the bracket. So it's about how you deal with it, I guess.
As long as
Um,
you're not Robbie.
I think he's been a bit better about
even
it
what
as of
what
late.
Robbie does is technically legal by like as long as you're not John Numbers, grabbing your backpack and running to a different local halfway through your local to go play a set and then running back.
No way he
That
did that.
yeah, he did that.
When did he
Did
do
he
that?
act?
Original
No,
multi-tourneying, he did that. He did that in 2019.
never. How
Oh,
did he do that?
He's the local goat. Nobody dominates his local like John Numbers. Nobody.
To be fair, he relies on his winnings to like live. So I mean that man is fighting for like just to live, just to pay his rent, knowing that the other person has to win to eat and feed himself. Like that is a terrifying. Like
I didn't realize
I'm
that
fairly
John
sure that's
had
what
to like.
happens. I'm
I
fairly
didn't.
sure that's what happens. Don't quote me on this. This
Mm.
is what I heard. But I heard he makes his like his money through video games and locals.
I mean, I guess like
I
he
could be
is like
spreading misinformation. You know his number, Chakkie. Ask him or them. Or...
I could ask him. I know his numbers. I could I could ask him. I don't know. That would surprise me, but also I guess it kind of makes sense. It's probably why he does so well at his weeklies in comparison to like majors. Um,
Majors don't pay the bills. Weeklies? Weeklies pay the bills.
mhm. Yeah.
That's why he planks so hard.
He's playing to win, yeah.
No, he just plays
if,
like that. You
if
know what? He wants to stop playing like that, which is the fun part, I guess. Like
he does not
he's
want to stop.
actively trying to like improve his game plan because he knows that playing the way he plays limits his success, but he like can't like he's much better than he was, but it's like a slow process.
You know, I mean, people trying to say like, Grace has a reputation for camping. It's like, what do you want me to
That's
do?
true. I'm not entirely sure who's worse, you or John Numbers.
What do you mean by that?
I have never seen you hold forward in like the 5 years of this game.
You haven't been watching my Ridley games then.
That's
I
true. Mewtwo and Seth, those are not
Those are not hold forward characters, no.
those are not hold forward characters. I mean, Mewtwo kind of can be, but
Yeah.
isn't really. Seth definitely not.
Like Mewtwo, you have to press one button first, and then you can run in. Ridley, you kind of have to run in.
well, you could just run in behind fireballs.
That's what I'm saying about the button before running in, Tom.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of just playing like Samus and then you could just
No.
then you don't have to run in. They just come to
Where's
you.
the fun in that?
But it's
It's like why
did
you
it
play. We've had this conversation before. It's like why you play Simon. Like it's because Soul Mains. Like
because
Mewtwo's
I have a
fine.
soul.
Yeah,
I'm not selling out to the corporate machines.
exactly. You get it. Oh.
Have you heard this Dr. Samus joke? The Mewtwo's Dr.
Yeah, I heard it at Regen. Dr. Samus.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so true. It's so
Hmm.
true. Oh dear.
If you really think
Mm.
about it, though, it's the other way around. It's like Samus is Doctor Mewtwo because she's the one who who's like slower and stays behind, like camps more. You know, like
Yeah, but like Samus is good and Mewtwo isn't. So
True.
oh
I'll let you have that one.
yeah.
True.
I think that's all we got. Has anybody got anything else?
Not really. Yeah.
I don't really have
There's
much
not
else
much
to
else.
say.
Nothing.
Pretty
Oh
solid
well.
weekend.
It was a good weekend, and the problem is now that there's just no tournaments. Like I was asking on the UK
Oh,
Smash Discord. I was like, where are the tournaments? Is there a regional next weekend?
I mean,
There was
there's
like
front runners now.
I know, yeah. I literally asked yesterday, and Focus was like, "Can you get tomorrow off work?" I was like, "No, absolutely not." But
uh,
and Duck was like, "There's Braveheart Brawl in Scotland." I was like,
Yeah, good luck with
"No."
that.
No.
yeah, no, that I
How
was
about
considering going, but it's in Dundee, which is a problem because it's a Dundee like doubles the price of travel from
Hmm.
like Edinburgh or like Glasgow type. So it's a pain to get to.
yeah?
There is Redacted, which I'm going to, uh,
Oh, in Ireland,
which
right?
is Ireland, yeah, because that's actually pretty cheap to get to, and
Oh,
you
when is
wouldn't
that?
necessarily have to take any days off work or anything because you can just it's a 1 day event. Um, so maybe that's a shout. Redacted. There's that Sunday. That's that Sunday showdown on Sunday. I don't know if is that in
Could
two
go to
weeks.
UFA.
Yeah.
It's not in two.
UFA in 2 weeks. I mean, again, international travel though. I can't book that in 2 weeks.
I was gonna say yeah, not in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I'll just spend 3 to 400 pounds going to UFA and getting upset by like a 1 and 2 like Lucario in France.
Ew.
The hidden boss. Oh, this English guy's not gonna know what hit him. Get him,
And then
Claude.
boost. Oh no.
Mm.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah, I
um,
didn't realize UFA was so soon. God damn. But yeah, I'll try and go to Redacted that Sunday Showdown.
yeah,
I'll
which is
probably be
like
spectating that. Worst comes to worst. We'll see if I don't know what they're doing for comms. They're like trying to figure it out.
you're
Um,
the comms Chakkie. It's you.
just me. Yeah. No,
Just
no.
you.
Like they don't have like an application, and I wondered if they were doing it like invite only in house, but they were like, no, we just haven't sorted it out yet. And it's Friday, and I've got no updates on that. So
You
time
just have to see how
time
it
to
goes.
message Burning.
Yeah.
time to message Burning again. Keep pestering.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Sunday Showdown redacted. There will be Braveheart Brawl, which I might consider, but it's in Dundee. If it was in like Glasgow, I'd probably go, but it's in Dundee,
Yeah.
and it's a 2-day event, and I work in teaching, so there's no way I can get Monday off work. So I'd
No.
have to like, yeah,
Mm.
I'm sick.
I'm
You're sick.
no, I'm not doing that.
You got the flu. You got the
No,
regen
You
flu.
got the regen flu, yeah.
I've
not the
managed to
regen
avoid the
flu.
regen flu. I'm
Same here.
100%
Yeah,
healthy.
all right.
Yeah.
I've gotten away with it.
But Tom, there's Den of Dragons. You haven't signed up yet.
Yes,
Oh,
there
when
is.
is Den of Dragons?
That's like a month from now. That's
Yeah, get
4
on
weeks
there.
away.
Get
I
on
can't
there.
wait. I can't wait until the 26th of October to play Smash again offline. It's ridiculous. That's like torture.
Well, I mean,
Where are
Frontrunners will
the
probably be before then.
Yeah, but Frontrunners is today.
Well, yeah, but like there'll be another Frontrunners. Like it's usually not every 4 weeks per se. There'll usually be one in like
All I'm
the
saying is,
whole.
where are the Midlands regionals? Where are the Midlands regionals?
I don't know. Why
Where?
don't you just go to a local? Why don't you just go to a
I
Surrey local? How about that?
Because Surrey locals are like on a weekday, and I have work, and I have to. I get off work. I get home at 5 o'clock, and there's no way I'm making Surrey locals from my house. And the nearest local is like Bournemouth, and I hate myself, and I don't want to drive over there because I'm lazy. I could just
Okay, well you
ping.
should drive to Bournemouth.
I could
'Cause
just ping Bournemouth matchmaking, and the same players will just play me online.
yeah, that's much worse.
But not for me, it isn't. I don't
I'm
mind online.
I don't have Nintendo Switch Online. The only
Do you
online
not?
games I'm playing are like Multiverses and SF6, which I
Yeah.
got recently. I got it like today. Do you know what? I'm very bad, but I
You
will
got
play
it.
it more. I'll play it more. I'm getting SF6 and Strive, and I'm just gonna like try and grind it out. Get better at fighting games. When I can get a 2x KO key, I'll be on it. I'll be on it non-stop.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
All
think
right. Good
we'll
spot.
leave it there then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking part. You know, like we've said, Regen was a fantastic event, and I generally just can't wait for the next one. But yeah. Any closing words, gentlemen, before we disband?
Not here.
No.
Yeah, I'd say
No?
just follow me on at Griseous_SSB on Twitter.
Look for the Ridley. It'll come out somewhere. Trust. But yeah, sign up to Den of Dragons if you're not signed up to Den of Dragons. I'm going, and Chris is going, and Chakkie might go,
See
might
you
not.
there.
Might go.
See you
Might
there.
not.
It's in Cardiff, so it's kind of easy to get to by rail. But yeah, thank you everybody very much for listening. I've got a few more things coming for this channel. Woo is in the and Ida are in the middle of making some graphics so I can talk about stuff. If we can do them actually, we could do them in the podcast style. I don't know. I'll have to consult with Woo because he's the manager and everything. I'm just the face of it. But no, stay tuned for more content. I've got loads more. I'm done with the Belmont stuff now, I promise. Maybe, mostly. So yes, thank you very much for watching and listening, and enjoy your evening or day.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Goodbye.